Welcome back to At the Mic with Michael Schumacher, brought to you by JR's Oasis. It's more than a fuel station and more than a convenience store. And we have a very special Tanager talk. Today we have Kasey Hanson on the line, and that's brought to you by Dakota Realty. Dakota Realty, sponsor of all of our Tanager talks. Had some news yesterday that made me want to get in touch with Kasey, and she was more than gracious enough to let me give her a call. And so, Kasey, how are you doing today?
I'm really good. How are you?
I am great. It's a beautiful day. Summer's been good. Summer been treating you okay?
Yeah, it's been really nice. I've actually been lifeguarding in Wakanda, so I've gotten to be outside a lot.
Oh, nice. Lifeguarding. So how'd you end up doing lifeguarding in Wakanda?
It was actually kind of random, but Brooke Jensen, you know her.
Oh, yeah.
Her mom is really close with one of the people that lives in Wakanda, and she said they needed lifeguards. So we both said we would.
All right, so it's kind of who you know. I mean, you know a Wakanda legend, so I mean that probably helps just a little bit. No, that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. And you know, a small town pool like that, growing up in Crofton, you know, there's a different element between Prentice Plunge, which is just this sea of humanity, and I bet the Wakanda pool. So you've been doing that all summer then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty fun. We get to see the same 10 kids every day.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, cool. Awesome. And that is a great summer. When you can do something like that, just have a little fun, and you're out in the sun, nothing beats that. All right.
Yeah, that's nice.
Well, excellent. Well, I tell you what, for those that might not know you or, you know, might have forgotten, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Okay. Well, I'm going to be a senior at Vermillion, and I play basketball. I played tennis for my freshman and sophomore year. And then I tore my ACL my summer before my junior year, so I haven't been able to play since then. But my family, both my parents played college basketball. They went to Mount Marty, and then my dad ended up transferring to USD for his last couple of years. And then I have a younger sister who's going to be a freshman, actually. So I'm excited to get to go to school with her and play with her a little bit this year.
Well, you know, and that is something that I wanted to touch on. Lacey, right? Am I getting the name right?
Lexi.
Oh, my God. Okay, it's been a summer. I got to get back, you know, just like kids, I got to get back into the education thing here. So, all right, Lexi, that's right. And I would edit that out, but, you know, people need to know I'm a moron at times. So, all right.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. She got to play a little bit last year with varsity as an eighth grader. Mm-hmm. So you got to play a little bit. What's it like going into a season? Because heading into last year, you know, you were injured and, you know, timeline wasn't exactly clear on when you'd be able to play your junior season. What's it like going into a season, getting to play with your sister and she's going to have a more prominent role because you graduated a number of good players and she's just going to move up that line. And also heading into your senior year, and like you mentioned, you and Brooke and so many others coming off that state championship. Let's just talk a little bit about the feelings heading into that for you as a ball player and a Lady Tanager.
Yeah, we're definitely all super excited. This summer it was fun getting to play with each other and all trying to figure out our new roles because we're definitely going to be playing a little bit different this year with a whole bunch of new kids. But I think we'll be good. We got a lot of experience with me and Brooke and Taylor, and then as far as everybody else, Maya and Madigan, and I think Lexi's going to get a lot of playing time as well. And they've had a lot of minutes on JV and playing against varsity at practice. So I think we should be able to figure it out. It should be a fun season.
Well, it should be. And what's it feel like? Because, you know, for a few years, you know, you had that Sodak 16 game against St. Thomas More 3 seasons ago. Wow, it feels it's hard. It's weird to even think about that it was that long ago. But 3 seasons ago against St. Thomas More came down to the wire. They end up going on to win the state championship. And then the next year, you guys are in the rankings all season long, and you fall to T, was a really good team, you know, and you'd had that rivalry. How did it feel to break through last year?
It was so awesome. I still can't even really believe we won it. But, yeah, after a couple years of heartbreakers to end our season, it was really awesome to get to end it that way.
Well, and you guys are heading into this season. Brooke has committed to Augustana, and you announced your commitment to be a Dordt Defender. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what went into that process and the whole recruitment process for you? Because you know, it's not like you've had this bump-free life, this bump-free career when it comes to basketball, like you said, with tennis. Just kind of talk about that entire process, because you've played summer ball, Stanford, all of that, and how that kind of affected it, and how good it feels to finally have that decision maybe behind you or under your belt here.
Yeah, it was definitely kind of different for me compared to some people, I think. But I played with South Dakota Attack since I was 12, and then the last couple of years it turned to Stanford, so I played with them. And that was really good, getting some exposure and stuff. And then obviously with my knee injury, that kind of threw a wrench into things. People didn't get to see me play for my whole junior year, basically, or my junior summer. So that was kind of hard, especially since it's such a big recruiting year. But Dordt always stayed interested. They kept in contact with me through that whole time. They had seen me play a couple tournaments before I got hurt, and then watched me last season as I came back. So that was really awesome to know that they were still believed in me and wanted to keep talking to me after that.
Well, yeah, and to have a school like Dordt, really been struggling for years. They're just not a really good basketball team at all. Obviously you can really help them, because they won a game recently?
Yeah, they've really been struggling. They're not quite the best. But
wait,
hopefully I can.
Yeah, they might be a national champion, right?
Maybe.
Okay, yeah. Boy, I think I might have been a little confused there. No, just kidding. To have a school of that quality, to still be interested in you, and to maintain that interest, that had to be kind of a real deal sealer for you. To say, okay, this team has stayed there with me throughout and has really maintained that interest. They didn't, because I'm sure with a knee injury and a second knee injury, I'm sure there were some schools that just said, nope, all right, and ghosted you a little bit.
Which is, totally understandable. I kind of saw that coming, but it was definitely awesome to know that those coaches still cared about me, and they wanted me for more than just basketball. They thought that my personality would fit, and they believed in that throughout the whole recovery process.
Well, that is great. And obviously, they had some good sophomore film to look at. You were a starter for that teenager team then, and so they obviously can see your competitive nature, and they could see the quality of play. Now, how are you feeling now? You came back at the end of the last basketball season. You were playing some significant minutes, not as many as you were. And obviously you had the big brace on. How are you feeling now this many months later?
I'm good. I'm just over a year now, I think about 14 months. So I feel really good, almost 100%, I'd say. Still trying to figure out my plan for the brace. I think it's more of a mental thing for me, is I feel like I'm going to get injured less if I wear it, but I don't know if it's really necessary now, so we'll see what I'm doing with it next season.
Well, and that has to be tough, because sometimes you play not to get injured. You want that security, but you also want to be able to play the style of game that you can play, and they don't always go hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, so you're coming off this summer, you're heading into your senior year of high school. So you have this off your plate. What are you hoping to do this senior year? Obviously, we kind of talked a little bit of basketball, but just what are some other plans for this senior year for you?
Just enjoy it, I think. I can't believe I'm already a senior. It makes me sad to talk about it, but I think just enjoy it, have as much fun with my friends as I can for our last year, and hopefully have a good basketball season too.
And that'd be amazing. If you guys could cap that off with another nice state tournament run. And I think what was nice last year is it kind of, not that it came out of nowhere. I think people that had watched you guys thought, okay, this is a good team. And there was that point in the season when you started contributing more minutes, and I think Taylor was able to come along with you. You guys were kind of a two-headed monster coming off the bench. I think that was when that switch got flipped for you guys. So I don't know that it came out of nowhere, but I think maybe statewide, I don't know that it was expected. I think there were other people that were considered. But those of us that had watched you guys all season long, I had a good feeling. I was like, you know what? There's a chance here. I
think we definitely surprised some people, but I think we all knew that you supported us and thought we had a good shot at it the whole time. So that was awesome.
Well, I tried. I tried not to be too big of a homer, but it's hard. I'm a fan. I'm a fan first and foremost. So, I love watching you guys and I love talking to you guys. And so I'm excited for this year. And now, obviously, at this point, I'd usually ask what your post-graduation plans are, but we know the school. Do you know what you're going to study?
That's the big question right now. I'm not really sure. I've kind of been looking at exercise science, something around there, but I'm not totally sure yet.
So with exercise science, what would that entail? What kind of career would that lead to? Or are there varieties of avenues you could go through?
I could go physical therapy, or I was also thinking like strength conditioning coach type thing. I think that would be fun because I've always really enjoyed lifting and being around stuff like that. So I think that would be a good job for me, maybe.
Well, and I think so. My daughter's a personal trainer up in Sioux Falls. And so, there's a demand because one thing she's finding is that there's a real kind of lack of female trainers. So pairing up trainers with high schools, because there's also that comfortability that that both the girls in school want and the employers want. So there's a lot of avenues with that. That'd be excellent. And you've always liked lifting, and has maybe your setbacks kind of led to you wanting to be kind of that person for others?
Yeah, that was definitely a part of it. My physical therapist was awesome, and she was very helpful. So I could see how it would be rewarding to see people go from fresh out of surgery to back to their sport or back to living normally, I guess.
Well, and that's exactly right. It is, and having a good person there for you. I mean, because you can have somebody that knows their job, and that's fine. But man, being able to work with a person too, that's the bedside manner is such an important element to that. So, and I think you'd be great at that. So good luck. I hope. And obviously, I thought I was going to be an attorney when I was going into college. I'm not. I'm not anywhere close to being an attorney. More brushes on the other side than I should have had. But that's just me. And so, you know what? 2 years down the line could be something completely different. But I think whatever you decide to set your mind to, you're going to be a success, and it's going to be fun to watch. I tell you what, you in the mood for a couple of icebreakers?
Oh, geez. Yeah, I suppose.
All right. And if I've asked some of these before, I apologize. But if you can go to any point in history and return safely one time, when would you travel to and why?
I think right now probably the state tournament. Those were probably the best couple days I can remember. So if I could relive those, that'd be awesome.
Well, and what was it like at the state tournament? I mean, because there's the camaraderie and stuff, but to get those wins, and because there are a lot of emotions, especially in South Dakota, where you play 3 games no matter what. But what's it like to come from behind? Every game, you guys gave them a false sense of security, and then kind of crushed their hopes at the last, 15 minutes of the game. Obviously there had to be that camaraderie, but you guys also seemed to have a good time. I was at the hotel a couple of times. What was that atmosphere like for you guys?
Yeah, it was super fun. Not even the game so much, just like before, after, we were always hanging out. Almost all 12, 15 of us were in the same room all the time, talking, hanging out. Got to go to breakfast together every morning, so that was fun. And then obviously the games were awesome too. Our parents planned a lot of cool stuff for us, from like decorating our hallways and our hotel rooms to throwing like send-offs, and then big parties when we came back home after the win. So that was really fun.
Yeah, well, and it was a great atmosphere. Now, and this kind of just led me down this, and I never got a chance to talk to you about it. What did it feel like having it come down to T? Having T be the team? Didn't it feel like a movie? Like it was always meant to be these final 2 teams here when you guys were on when it just worked out that way? Did that feel like fate?
Yeah. We kind of joked it was like the perfect storm. Like, of course we had to play them. It had always kind of been a big mental thing for us to beat T and playing against them. So I thought it worked out perfect.
Oh, it really did. And boy, the atmosphere that day was something to marvel at. And what's that like as a player because you're in the bird cage and there's an atmosphere there, but it really felt like that place was packed for the state championship, and it just felt like both sides, the crowds were getting into it. I'm on the floor, and I can hear behind me, but you can hear across the way. How does that change it for a player like yourself? It even just makes it harder to communicate out there a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think most of us just try our best to block it out. Like, even looking back and watching the games now, I'm like, wow, I can't believe we were playing in front of that many people. It was crazy. We just kind of try to focus on the game and not look up at how many people are watching, and then online too. I've heard my parents talking about all their friends were watching, and like all these people we don't even know. So it's crazy to think how many people were watching, and I think it's probably good that we can kind of block it out or not even like realize how many people were there.
Well, and that's exactly right. And so, yeah, I'm sorry to tangented a little bit off the history question, but my second one would be, who would be your three people that you would want to have dinner with from throughout history? You could pick any three people. Who would you want to sit down and have dinner with?
Jeez. That's a tough one. I don't know. I think Paige Beckers right now, maybe.
Okay.
Just because she came back from a big knee injury and she's super successful basketball-wise right now.
That's right. She's actually had two.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I like that one.
I really like Taylor Swift. I think I've talked to you about her before.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that would be fun. My third one would be maybe Simone Biles, because I've been watching her at the Olympics right now, and she's pretty cool.
All right. Simone Biles, Taylor Swift, and Paige Beckers. You know what? I think you'd have a lot to talk about. I think there'd be a lot of camaraderie, but I think that'd be some great story swapping, because everyone's successful in their field, but the fields are very different. I mean, in basketball and gymnastics, I know they are both obviously sports, but very different.
Yeah.
One's more individual, one's the team sport, and and Simone Biles, and she got a lot of grief for it 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, whatever it was with COVID. But when she stepped back because of just needed a mental break, and I so many people criticized her, but man, there's a certain amount of strength that it takes to admit that, especially on such a prominent public stage.
Yeah.
So I would love to get a chance to sit down and talk with her and pick her brain. I like those three. That is excellent. All right. Well, final one, and this one's usually pretty easy. And I kind of, with the three for dinner, I kind of think I know who the three like celebrities might be. But who would be somebody, one or two people in your personal life that you hold up and say, man, if I can live my life like him or her, I'll consider myself a success. It doesn't have to be a financial success. You just maybe even like the way they treat people and that people respect them. Who would that be for you?
I think both my parents are definitely my goals for how I want to grow up and have a family. And they're both successful in their careers, but they're also have kids, a happy family, and then lots of friends as well. So I think it would be fun to grow up and have a family and stuff like they do.
Well, I think that'd be excellent too. And I'll admit, I kind of figured that'd be your answer, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that answer, because I think it's a great one, and your parents are very good role models. So I like that. Well, Kasey, I just want to say thank you. Congratulations on getting making the commitment, kind of getting that off your plate. That's one thing you don't have to worry about. I think Dordt is getting a great player, and they've been really stacking some of the players up, especially from this area. So it's going to be fun to really follow you and follow so many others that we've been able to cover in the past. So Dordt's getting a good one. I think you're getting a great atmosphere, and I think you're getting the great setting, and I'm looking forward to keeping tabs on you. I'm assuming that we'll be able to talk sometime once basketball season starts. Don't be a stranger, and but otherwise, enjoy the rest of your summer. Have a great senior year, and we'll be talking to you down the line. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. You too.
That was Vermillion Tanagers girls basketball player Kasey Hanson, who has just committed to Dordt to be a Dordt Defender. Congratulations to her. They are getting a great one. So excited to see her progress this season. As we mentioned, Brooke Jensen has earlier committed to Augustana. Big things on the horizon, I think, for this Vermillion team as well this season, coming off that state championship. But Kasey has overcome so much, and it was just a pleasure to get to talk with her. Really enjoyed it. I'll be honest, I've never had a bad interview with any of my Tanager Talks, Bucks and Gazelles, anything like that. So it's always a pleasure getting to know these kids, getting to talk to these kids, and excited to get to see where they go in the future and just being able to follow up with them as that happens. So want to thank her for taking the time to talk with me today. I want to thank Dakota Realty for being the sponsor of these Tanager Talks. And as always, this is At the Mic with Michael Schumacher, brought to you by JR's Oasis, and we will be back right after these messages.